Line 6 Stadium Firmware 1.2 is available now. Bradford and I are going to talk about it at length in this video. But before we go any further, check out what mostly Sean did with the new amp model based on the Mesa Boogie Mark II C Plus. Welcome to Signal Theory. Hey, I'm Brian.
What's up? I'm Bradford.
Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. In this video, we're talking about Line 6 Helix Stadium Firmware 1.2.
Part of the 1.2 firmware is some bug fixes. We'll get into that in a little bit. We also have Showcase. That's a big deal.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about that. That's a new thing. We also got three Agoura amps, more specifically. One, we now have an Agoura version of a Super Reverb, a very cool amp. We have a Silver Jubilee, which we actually didn't even have to begin with, so that's brand new. And we have a Mesa, but not just any Mesa. Brian, I feel like you need to kind of introduce this one.
Yeah, this is the Mesa, the Mesa Boogie Mark II C Plus, which is a very famous amp from Mesa Boogie, highly sought after. Let's stop talking about it. Let's hear it. This is the Mesa Mark II C Plus. Admittedly, I don't have a ton of experience with this amp, which is why Sean and I did that whole Star Wars medley just for you, so you could hear it in action. I am impressed with this amp because it's got a really great sounding clean channel, a really great sounding rhythm channel. Where should we start? Let's just start rhythm. I'll turn this off and this off. Now, so we're just hearing the amp. I'll turn this EQ off too. Now, these are impulse responses of my Mesa Boogie 412 slant cab with vintage 30s. That same cab is in here as a stock cab, so we'll pull that in as well. But right off the bat, this is a preset, again, you can grab below. We're going to just use it as our template. So here we go. There's a noise gate on, which is why it's so quiet. We've got all the options that you get on the amp represented here. So the channel, normal, lead, the drive, the bass, middle, treble, your tone stack and presence, the deep switch on off. This level is just going to give you pure output level. Bass shift, treble shift, bright switch. These are all like options on the amp. Lead drive, lead byte, lead master, overall master. So tons of stuff. Even, you know, Class A versus simulclass. You can manipulate all of this. We could be here forever going through all these options. This is just how Sean and I really dialed this in. can see what we've done. We dumped the mid on, which is what most people do on these amps with the onboard, like the slider EQ. So again, that was the IR. Let's leave my IRs in there, and we'll pull in the stock cab, same cab, vintage 30. Here's the Boogie 421 121. So you could just tweak the amp. On these high gain amps, you really have to pay attention to where your master volumes are set, because it'll greatly change how the amp responds, how much bass there is in the amp or how little, that kind of thing. On these Mesa Boogies, you know, I own a handful of Mesa Boogies. Often you've got that you can change like the class that the amp runs in, like the power setting. It will very much change the output level of the amp, so you have to compensate for that, but you can get like a completely different feel. So I'm back to the impulse responses. Let's turn the hype up and see what happens. So first let's turn it down. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, I'm really liking it around 3, 3.5, 2.5, somewhere in there. All right, let's go to a clean setting. So the amp is now in the normal channel. This amp is so versatile. I'm gonna turn off some of this external stuff so you can just hear the amp. This amp block is very, very cool. I kind of want to buy a Mesa Boogie Mark II C now. After playing this, it sounds great. Thank you, Line 6.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the Super real quick. As a reminder, these patches that you're seeing in this video are available on our website, signaltheoryaudio.com. While you're there, subscribe to the email list. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. We would greatly appreciate it. This is a simple patch that we put together. It's kind of how we typically do things. We have the Super in the dead middle of the chain, and then we have stereo effects after. We have a EQ block on typically. I'm gonna turn that off again for the purpose of this demo. The compressor's off. Right now, it's just the amp with our IRs. You get the IRs. They come with the patch. But the bright switch was on. We're gonna turn that off. You can hear the difference right out the gate. Let's turn some spring verb on. Love that drip. Can I do it? No? So that's the bright switch on. I think Brian likes it. I don't hate it, but I just really like the more like softer nature with it off. That's more me. We're on the vibrato channel. That on most Fender amps, I think is kind of like common accepted fact. Well, common accepted practice that you don't use the normal use of vibrato, but here's the normal. It's just not as lively. Could we get it more, like if we gain it up? So if we gain it up, we bring the bass down because it's a bit dark. Let's crank up some sub. I mean, bass is basically off now, right? Brighten it up. Now that's a good sound. Let's boost it with the king of tones. Okay, that's nice. Super's normal channel, very nice. Let us take this back down to a little more reasonable sound. And this new thing, if you're not familiar with Stadium and what they introduced, they have this hype knob. And it's kind of like, it's arbitrary for each amp. I've seen people try to qualify what it is and what it does, and maybe it does those same things on multiple amps, but it's not a one thing from what I understand. It's like, you turn it up and it pushes the amp into more of like the ideal sound people hear in their head or kind of think about when they think of this amp. So I haven't messed with this. This knob was set at 2.3. I don't know if Brian did that. I don't know if that's how it came, like from the, when you loaded it up, but let's just mess with it, see what happens. Again, normal channel, the bright is on. Turn the bright off. I think a little more, let's kind of like soften the sound again. Turn the height. Let's just go all the way up. Okay, so it does kind of do like this saggy compression thing. Let's put it in the middle. Huh. I don't... Let's gain it up and see. All right, let's move over to vibrato real quick, and we'll come back to the hype knob. Here is vibrato channel, bright is off. I took most of the bass out on the normal channel. Let's add a good bit back. Here's a tube screamer on that. And just for the record, I have the Stadium on the floor so I can get to certain things a little quicker. Okay, let's crank up some mids. To me, it's a pretty scoop sound on the cleans. It's like spanky clean. Like if you dig into it, we're getting something, but let's gain it up. So, personally, I'll play a little more. Personally, I like the gained up sound more from the normal channel than the vibrato, and I like the clean sound more on the vibrato. Cool thing about how Stadium has been designed is that we now can use one amp block to control the channels. So you could set buttons or like a stomp, for example, or you could set up a snapshot to swap between if you want your cleans to be the vibrato and the dirt, like I said, to be the normal channel. That's something you can totally do. I really like it. You get the 410 IRs from our 66 Super. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So you can have those, which is pretty cool, we think. But if not, you can always use proprietary, like local cabs, if you'd like.
Let's look at the Silver Jubilee amp model. Now, this is a preset that you can grab over at Signal Theory. We'll link to it below. We've got lots of stuff built into this preset, like switching between clean and lead channels, custom built impulse responses. In this section of the video, we're going to use this preset sort of as our template, but we're going to manipulate the amp and show you what it can do just a little bit. So first of all, you can see we've got a clean tone dialed up, and I'm running into impulse responses of a Bogner 412 cab with vintage 30s. Now, I chose these IRs very specifically because I don't have impulse responses of a Silver Jubilee cab, but from what I can tell, from what I understand, most Silver Jubilee cabs, especially like the old one, the original ones, had like Marshall's version of a vintage 30, whatever they would do. So they're like vintage 30s in there. Now this Bogner 412 cab has vintage 30s in it. So I figured it's a pretty good match. First of all, Silver Jubilee has a really nice clean channel. I turned the hype down because we're going to mess with hype here in a bit. Playing this PRS Custom 24. You can see with the master all the way up on this amp, which you might not necessarily want to do. Drive is at about 4 on the clean channel, the rhythm channel. It's pretty clean. I have had a Silver Jubilee here for a while. We captured it and made presets based on it. It really impressed me because of how versatile it is. So you've got the clean channel, and then in the clean channel is the rhythm clip. The rhythm clip gives it a lot more aggression. So to me, it was like your rhythm channel is kind of like your vintage plexi-ish kind of a thing. Rhythm clip makes it more aggressive, so like hot rodded kind of a deal. But let's kind of go through the gain range and see what you can get here on the rhythm or the clean channel. You push that gain, it gets pretty woolly, so we can pull the gain back. All right, let's turn on the rhythm clip to show you what it does. Again, it's just going to get a lot more bite. And then I'm going to go to our preset sort of lead channel sound. It's in this rhythm snapshot. Everything changes. Whoops, don't turn the amp off. Let's do not snapshot bypass. So now we've gone to our lead channel. So again, here are the clean channel settings. Bass is up. Treble is at around 5.9 it looks like. We go to rhythm, and we're bringing the bass down and the treble up, and then just switching to the lead channel. One thing you can play with here, this lead master is going to control like gain, or it's your master volume for the lead channel. So I feel like you can get similar tones on the lead channel that you can on the rhythm clip channel, but you've just got a lot more, room to go up as far as like gain on this lead channel. Sounds really, really cool, especially with these Bogner IRs. So you could hear there a bit what happens, when you push that lead master. I find 7-ish is the sweet spot. That was sort of my experience when we captured the Silver Jubilee. Let's look at what hype does, and then we'll pull in some stock cabs and check those out as well. So we're back to our clean-ish setting. Hype has been off pretty much this whole time, so let's turn it on, see what happens. Almost every Agoura amp model that I have played with, the hype coming in at around 3, anywhere from 2.5 to like 5. Just makes everything better. A little more compression. It feels different under the fingers. Sometimes it brings in, and I think in this case it does, a little more gain into the EQ shifts just a little bit, but man, it feels and sounds just better to me. So I'm a fan of it. You might not like that. I think it's a matter of preference. You can do similar things with compression and EQ with external effects if you want a little more control over that kind of thing. But I love that it's in one setting. So let's swap over to our rhythm channel and hear the hype on that one as well. So now hype is off. Honestly, I've felt and heard, I'm not listening back super loud right here, but I feel like the difference was more pronounced in the rhythm or the clean channel on this one. All right, let's get my IR cabs out of here and pull in some stock cabs. Maybe let's try a blackback. That sounds good. I've got just some cabs built in here. How about a Boogie? How about a Boogie and a black back cab? How about the matchless 212? It's actually a pretty good tone. It's a little quieter. Let's turn that master back up. See what we got. That's my experience with the matchless. Like, there's a lot of mid-range in that cab. So, this amp probably is going to pair best with a 412. There it is. And if we want to, we can get back to the IRs of the Bogner just to refresh our memory. Fairly different sounding than the cabs in Stadium, but sounds great with all of them. Let's talk about Showcase. So we're going to show you the process of importing a song. That's going to be here in the Stadium edit software. And then right now, manipulating the song, adding flags and actions and all that kind of thing is done on the Stadium unit itself, which I have right here connected to the editor. And we're going to hop over to the studio section to show you like a top-down shot of doing that. So in Stadium Edit here, we can go to this tab on the right that exists now in 1.2. These are your songs. So we're going to import a new song. Now I'm going to actually just import the song that I played in this video with the Silver Jubilee. So that song is in G minor, and I called it G minor Jubilee because I'm not that creative, I guess. So I'm just gonna name it, and I know that it's 80 BPM also. So I'm gonna name it here. I'm gonna give it a tempo here of 80 BPM, so it's gonna match. In future updates, I understand that they're gonna have tempo, detection and stem splitting and all that kind of stuff. We don't have that yet. This is in 4.4, but if you wanted to, you could change the time signature as well. We can now import up to 8 wave files to build our song, like a multi-track. So I just took the Logic session that I had for that song, and I bounced out all the individual tracks that I wrote for it. So there's a click track, a cue track, we'll hear it all in a second, a rhythm guitar track, drums and bass, and some lead guitar parts. So here they are. You can see drums, EG rhythm, lead, 1, 2, 3, bass, click, and cues. We're going to highlight all these, bring them in, and now we can rearrange them. So the way I would rearrange any kind of a click track, I'm going to have click up here, cues here, drums, bass, EG rhythm guitars. Then we're going to have lead 1, lead 2. This is lead alt. I guess it doesn't have that last character. I must have run into the limit. Anyway, once you get all these imported, then you can zoom in and out to see everything. So it looks like everything has waveforms in there. Then you hit transfer. It's going to transfer it from wherever on your computer onto Stadium, and you're going to probably need one of the micro SD cards installed for this. So we hit transfer and let it do its thing. Our transfer is finishing here. Don't be alarmed. When I pulled it in, it went to 30 immediately. Then it kind of stuck around 30 to 35 for a little while, like a minute, and then it popped up and kind of went. So if it takes it a little bit of time, just give it time. It's going to depend probably on many factors like your connection. This is Wi-Fi connected, so it's a lot of stuff. Now it's on the device, and we can go into the songs section of Stadium and manipulate it and play it back. To get to Showcase, press that music button right there, and it will bring up, it can bring up your songs. This is the one we just brought in, G minor Jubilee, 80 BPM. And here you can see our waveform. So we can play it. In my experience, this is gonna be pretty loud. So we're gonna go in and manipulate this because I guess I exported these tracks pretty hot, but here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, ready, 2, 3, 4.
You get the idea. So it's gonna play back whatever you gave it. What you heard there was my own like sort of click track that I do with cues that I make. Those are just AI vocal cues that I've got a whole bunch of them that I can MIDI control in Logic. So let's go in, and the first thing that I think we should do, like let's say you're going to use this as a song that you just play along to. So rather than just playing, it's a lot more fun to just play to a band, right? So the other thing you could do is use this as like a demonstration piece. Like if you're going to perform it somewhere, you can have backing tracks, or if you're in like a church setting or you play live with a band and you want backing tracks for your songs, you can use it for all of that. But first thing I would do is come in here and I'm going to trim these tracks down. I brought these in, I just played them over there before we came over here, and I noticed everything was really loud. So I'm going to pull everything down by like to like -4-ish dB. So there, track 1 is going to be my click. You can see what these tracks are. The cues are like quite a bit quieter. So if you want to hear those louder, we'll keep them up. Drums, -4. -4 is going to be like the new 0. That way when you play, or when I play here in just a second, it will come a little bit over the top of all the tracks. Now, track 5 is rhythm. I want to keep the rhythm guitars in there, but I want to like, I don't want to hear the lead part because I want to play that. So I'm going to go to track 6, which is the first lead part. That's that I'm going to pull that all the way down to -60 here. So it's going to be essentially muted. 7 is like the solo part in the B section of the song, so I'm gonna pull that down as well. Now track 8 is like a textural kind of a lead. I want to keep that in. It's this part that's over the top of everything. So we'll leave that at -4 as well. So now we've sort of made a rough mix. You can play the track.
Ready, 2, 3, 4.
Here's our B section. Okay, so you can play the song and mix it while you're doing this mixing section. So the next thing I want to do is add some flags. So the first flag that I want to add is my count-in flag. I want to be able to like jump between these sections. So to add a flag, you click the little add a flag button. I'm going to make it a marker. Now we can name the marker. I'm going to call it count-in. Right? So that's named. The next thing you want to do is put it where you want it. You can drag things around here, but I actually like to use this. So you can change what bar, what beat, and what tick it's on. So there's my count in. We're going to hop here. This is the intro comes in, or A section starts right in here. So we're going to add another marker. We'll call this A section. This will make sense here in a bit why I'm marking these things up. A section. That's going to be on bar 3, beat 1, tick 1. So now my A section is in. I just kind of know that where this next cue is the B section because it cues us into it. So I'm going to add another marker and I'm going to call it B section. But if you wanted to, you could play it and just punch the button when you get there. If it's like a track that you're not super familiar with. All right, so B section starts there. That's going to be on bar 11, 1, 1. So actually, no. Well, that popped me to 12, bar 11. And as you move it around, like you can look, you see this cue track. You can see the ready, 2, 3, 4. That's what AI cue person says there. So pop it in. Next, we can come back here. This is where the A section comes back around. So we'll go A section. And I'm not going to add any other markers or any other, sectune. I'm not going to add any other flags besides these because this is kind of all we need for now, right? Just these markers. But you can do all kinds of things. You can automate preset changes. I'll show you that here in a bit. So now what you can do is you can go to the transport view. Okay, this is new. So you can go to transport view and then you can swap between markers. So I'm going to start at the count in.
1, 2,
and it'll start playing
3.
from there. Say I want to just jump to the B section, which is the lead is. We're going to hop in right there. That's why it's handy to have sections. You can name them whatever you want. You call it solo section or something like that. One thing that I think is really helpful, especially if you've got like a track that you're just practicing over. Say there's a section you want to practice, like I want to practice that solo. So the way you would do that is to add a flag where the B section starts, right? So that's the solo section. We're going to add a cycle flag. Now it's going to turn a cycle on that will just repeat. So the cycle start, remember bar 11 was where the B section started. So let's start it at bar 11, beat 1, tick 1, and we're going to end it at wherever the end is. And here you can see that's where the Q comes out. It looks like bar 15. So this cycle is going to go between 11. It's a 4-bar cycle that's going to go to 11 and 15, and you can turn it on and off right here. So once that's on, it's going to cycle and it's just going to repeat. I'll demonstrate.
Ready, 2, 3, 4.
So the application of that is you can practice a part. So we're going to go to ambient lead. That's the lead sound that I use. I'm just going to practice this lead a few times. We're going to go to transport. Cycle is on. Let's go to where the B section starts and play. Here we go. So the question you have in your mind is, did I botch that bend just so I could demonstrate that I was practicing it, or do I really just botch that bend almost every time? Comment below. So you get the idea, and then you can practice that as much as you want. You can turn cycle on and off. You can turn it off, and then it'll move on to the next part of the song. But I find that this makes playing guitar just way more fun. So we can kind of go all the way back to the beginning.
1,
just kinda
2,
play it.
3,
Here we go.
4. Ready, 2, 3, 4. If
you get like a little collection of backing tracks that just lives in your stadium, when you turn it on to play, now you've got a band to play with or music to play along with. And you don't have to connect to a computer. I mean, you could, Bluetooth connect and just stream something from YouTube, but this gives you way more options. So there are so many things you can do with Showcase. We added a marker or 2 or 3. That's like barely scratching the surface. You can send any kind of MIDI commands out that you want, which then you could translate to DMX commands for lighting changes if you're doing this live with a show. One thing that's super handy that I could have done here in this Silver Jubilee song is I kind of switch in the song from playing this rhythm snapshot to the ambient lead snapshot. So right as I hit, and I'm going to show you how easy that is to do. Unfortunately, I didn't save the changes, so we're sort of back to the start here. But let's just do this. Let's just go preset. So here we're going to add a preset adjustment. So I'm going to go to the Silver Jubilee HB setting that I've got. We're going to start on snapshot 3. So snap 3 is going to come on when the song starts. Then we're going to come over here right before the lead. We're going to add a new flag. That's going to be a preset snapshot change again. Everything's going to stay the same except we're going to go to snapshot 8. So now what happens when we go here, and then I'm going to add this. One thing I've noticed as I've done this, like that B section starts at bar 11. So I'm going to actually switch to it at bar 10, beat 4. So right before we hit at about tick 100. I found that is a really good sort of, if you do it right on 11, it kind of comes in maybe a little after you want it to happen. So now when we pull this song up, it's going to switch to this preset in this set list at that snapshot. And then when we hit the B section, it's going to go to the ambient lead snapshot. And I can just demonstrate how that works really quick. So let's say this is 1 bar in front of the B section before we go to the lead. Here we go. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? It switches it for you. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is play. Now you're a rock star that has like, a tech that's switching your stuff for you. The possibilities with Showcase are, this is just scratching the surface. Now, Line 6 has said that they're going to keep it simple on purpose, but I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can turn the tuner on. You can, any kind of these utility things. You can add markers, cycles, preset changes. You can manipulate the looper. You can change an external amplifier. If you're like using this with a real amp and you want to switch channels on the amp, you can do that. Any kind of MIDI, hotkeys. I mean, there's tons you can do with this. Sort of like your own creativity is like the limiting factor here, especially when it comes to MIDI. Showcase is exciting. I'm excited to get a whole bunch of little songs in here. And you can make them so easy on, just using Logic with like built-in musicians. Pretty soon we're going to be able to bring in just like a stereo track and send it up to the cloud, or however they're going to do the stem splitting. But that's coming very soon. It's not available yet. It really just makes playing guitar a lot more fun. Whether you're from like it's just you playing guitar and you've got some backing tracks or songs you can play to, or you're playing with a band and you can add stuff in and automate things. It makes it more convenient, more fun, which translates to you playing guitar more, getting better, improving, and just enjoying the instrument more. That is Line 6's goal with this thing, and I think they're nailing it, and it's very easy to use. So let's wrap things up. First of all, let's talk about these amp models. I love the fact that Line 6 gave us 2 brand new amp models. I think people might be torn on this, because I think there's a lot of people who used and loved particular HX, which are now legacy and stadium amp models. Bradford, you and I included, because the C30 was like our jam.
The Mash
that was my main,
not
my
yet,
main go-to.
Least. Not yet.
Not yet. So I feel like there's probably a lot of guitar players out there, maybe you're one of them, who are like, I want the Agoura version of whatever HX amp that you loved. Yeah. But, on the flip side, getting brand new amps in the stadium platform is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Don't sell, especially like something. Well, either of the 3 amps. Honestly, you gotta give them some justice, because a Silver Jubilee is not. I mean, like Joe Bonamassa does or did use that pretty regularly, but it also gives you some really nice cleans. So it's not just like ripping. The Mark II C has some nice cleans too. So you're not, again, it's not just about a ripping amp. The Super, as you heard, like to me, the normal channel sounds so good driven. Like it's a very unique sound to me coming from a Fender. So they all have a little something to offer that if you just get rid of your preconceived notions about like what these amps probably do, give them a shot. That's one plus to amps, like things in stadium or any unit getting rolled out slowly. It's not like massively overwhelming. You get this new unit and there's all this stuff. It's like, 3 new amps. Spend a half hour, 10 minutes each messing with the amps. Have some fun. Learn them. Check them out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we didn't probably say this in when we're walking through the amps themselves, but like these are 3 new amps, but in old modeling world and in like the way Fractal does things too, the Super is actually 2 amp models, because there's the vibrato, the normal. Yep. Mm-hmm. The Silver Jubilee's 3 of them, because you got the normal, the clean channel, the clip, the rhythm clip channel, and then you've got the lead channel, so 3 separate channels, and then of course the Boogie has 2. So it's like you're getting 7 new amps rather than 3. Yeah. Did I do my math right? 7. 2 plus 3 plus 2 is 7. Yes. So to your point, Bradford, there's a lot of tones here that we didn't have to explore. So yeah, it's a big update.
The other thing, Showcase. And some people I've seen in groups, I guess really there's like a couple groups on Facebook I'm a part of. But anyways, people are just like, yeah, I don't care. And I'm going to be honest. I don't buy guitar gear because I want it to do 40,000 things. Okay. That's not for me. I want it to sound good and I want it to work. So Showcase to me is not something that I'm particularly like thinking I'm going to utilize. But as a YouTuber, I'm trying to figure out how to make content. But also as a guy who was on staff at a church, churches for like 12 years of my life or something like that. I can see the merit and I can understand how it could be very helpful. Like, this is a very creative idea. And it's like, I think some people are like, well, what's the big deal? And it's like, this is taking the idea of playing music and kind of the state of the musical world right now and finding a way to make it more seamless and even easier. You don't have to play with tracks. But at the end of the day, the thing that I think people forget, and this is not a conversation about that, but I just want to get this out of the way. You're not playing music most of the time for musicians. You're playing music for people who want to be entertained. And most of the time, those people don't give a flying flip if there's a synth being tracked and playing back live. Now, if you're like a musician and it's like you on guitar and then 90% of stuff is tracks, people may not be digging that as much. That's possible. However, if you're playing stuff to enhance your show, but Showcase does so much more than that. It's not just about playing tracks. So one thing I'm curious about, what if your like arrangement of a song is like baked in your, because you drag in audio files.
Right. It will be baked in, right? Yeah,
right.
The arrangement.
Yeah. So what if you want to do a chorus twice? Like, this is a very simple question, but like, how does that work? Like, you're like, you know, at the last end of the song, let's do the chorus twice. How would you do that? Yeah.
So we showed that in the section walking through it. You can set up markers, right? And then you you have a new view, the transport view, on the stadium itself. And in the transport view, you have buttons that allow you to jump between markers. Say you're playing along and you're in a chorus, and the next thing is like a bridge or a verse, but you want to repeat that chorus. You just you hit the marker back button. As long as you've set that up as a marker, you can like select it, and then on beat you can hit the button and you'll jump back into the chorus again. So that's one way to do it. So you can hop around anywhere in the song and repeat anything or go to anything you want, as long as you've set those up as markers. And then you can also set a cycle in your song. And a cycle is just a section that repeats. Bradford and I are church guys, right? So if you know you're going to play the bridge between 4 and 12 times, depending on what happens, you can set the bridge. You can have the bridge section to have the cycle on. Then when you get there, you can go to your transport view and turn cycle on, and it's just going to repeat that section until you turn it off. And then you can say, okay, we're done now. We'll turn the cycle off, and it'll just go to the rest of the song. So that's two ways, easily you can set things up to jump between sections. So you can sort of take an arrangement and make it your own.
So what if you don't, like, what if you want to, like, edit so the song actually has that instead of setting flags or something? Like actual adjusting the clips. Can you do that?
Like changing the actual audio files? I don't think... I don't believe you can do that at this point on the stadium itself. You'd have to bounce out new tracks or something in a DAW.
Okay.
Yeah. Sort of on the flip side, I have been excited about Showcase since they talked about it.
Yeah.
And so, I've experimented with it in a handful of ways. Like I didn't do this in this video, but I stem splitted is that a term? Stem splitted? A worship song that we do all the time at church in Logic, right? So the stem splitting feature is coming to Showcase, but it's not available yet. I think it's a future firmware update where it's coming.
And Logic has like this ability to do
Logic.
that.
Yeah, Logic has it built in. So, this is something that I would do every weekend. I would have, I'd have my set list of songs, and on the computer, I'm hooked up to a computer. So I'd have to be in front of a computer with all of this stuff set up to practice. But with Showcase, if you get your library of songs imported that your church does, or whatever your show, like you can just practice anywhere to all those songs. Like you don't have to be connected to anything. And if you want, you can even have it change your presets or snapshots during different song sections. There's that, like just being untethered with it is super cool.
Yeah.
But the little song piece that I wrote for this video and then imported in, like doing stuff like that is it's it's way more fun to play guitar if you're just going to play guitar, to have something like that to play along with.
Yeah.
It's much more inspiring to play. So if you can get a library, and I mean, you can download dozens and dozens of royalty-free backing tracks on the internet. You can just grab them and download them. And something like that, you don't need to split it. You can just pull it in, and you can just have like a library in Showcase on your Stadium of all these different backing tracks that you can just play along to. Now you can do the same thing with Bluetooth on an iPhone and Bluetooth it in to your Stadium unit. Like you've been able to do that from launch day. But to have it all in there and be able to set up markers and repeat sections and stuff, I mean, to me, it makes playing guitar much more fun and inspirational.
You know, Showcase, Stadium, those were names chosen to kind of like emphasize what they're meant for. But these are these are great practice tools that will really help like put some just put some oomph behind what you're trying to do in a good way. So there's lots to explore.
Well, let's talk about bug fixes, because that was the last big thing that that came out. And there's been, you know, if you follow the forums and the Facebook groups, there's lots of discussion around bug fixes. Some of them are actual bugs that they have fixed. Some of them are the Stadium like has a different user experience than Helix in certain ways, and so some of it's user error, you know, that we've seen. But we have experienced bugs live that have been fixed, so we can talk about a few things. Yeah. One of them, Bradford, you were saying was the tempo thing, right?
Yeah, and it happened.
That got fixed.
Yeah, it would happen like randomly. Like it wouldn't happen every time. I could tap tempo in, and sometimes it just would stay at whatever it was saved at. And so it was weird because I would see, as I would tap, I would see the number for the new tempo that I just tapped in, but then it would flash back to whatever tempo was saved.
Was already
and so
programmed.
It was like, what is going on here? So yes, very glad that like that's taken care of.
That's fixed. Another bug, tempo related bug, was I would have song presets, right? And I would know this song is at 82 BPM, and I'm playing and it's at 82 BPM, but the tempo light is flashing at 120.
Yeah.
Right. That was another bug. So it was like it functioned perfectly, but it wasn't displaying the correct tempo. So, and there have been some other things that got fixed as far as like volume level jumping with snapshots in certain situations, and they're just ironing things out. So it's good to see Line 6 being very proactive. And I've seen on forums like Frank Rachote, he has been very active in these forums saying, hey, here are the bugs that we've seen reported. We're fixing these. If you have any experience with bugs, please let us know. We're monitoring all these things, but there are official places to report bugs on Line 6's website. Helix, OG Helix 1.0. Think about everything that it didn't have snapshots. I'm not thinking bugs anymore. I'm just thinking features. It didn't have snapshots. It didn't have
no editor.
No editor. Wow. Yeah, there's no HX edit. Forget about dynamic hall, dynamic plate. It didn't have the glitz, reverb, Ganymede.
The dynamic stuff is even newer. Yeah, it had legacy effects. That's basically, It had the M9. So, if it was in your M9, you had it, but nothing else.
That's right. Yeah. So it had some effects that were new, like it had new overdrives and stuff. Remember the Klon was in there, just not reverb. So if you think about where OG started and where it is now, and they're even going to continue to develop that platform, they've committed to it. It's pretty impressive to think about what can Stadium do in the future. Yeah. And we're just seeing the tip. I mean, we're just weeks after the release of this unit, and we're already getting lots of new amps, complete new functionality. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future of Stadium.
So, reminder, as if we haven't said it enough, these presets are available at signaltheoryaudio.com, and more specifically, 3 of them are free. So there's a high watt, there is the rev generator, and not mentioned in this video or demoed, maybe possibly depending on when you watch this, is an AC30. It's our tone match variant though. If you're confused about that, it's like a special EQ IR kind of thing we add to amps just to kind of give them a little more life and realism to our studio version. Just try it. It's free, so you should check that out.
There you go.
And
it's good.
It's very good. And actually, we have presets available for all the Agoura amps at this point.
That's right.
So if you're just wanting to try some stuff out and hear stuff, which all of them also come with free IRs that we have, because we have like speakers just about for every single one of these amps that typically are coincided or correlated with those amps. So check those out. Subscribe if you haven't. We are going to be making more videos on Stadium and really other things. It's just currently at this moment, Stadium is a hot topic. So we're trying to meet the needs of the people. So make sure you're subscribed for more stuff. Thanks for joining us. Brian, thanks for taking my FaceTime call today so we could do this from
Likewise, Bradford.
however many hundreds of miles away we are.
That's right. That's right. Too many, I'll say that.
That's true.
See you later.
See you some other time.